There is a phrase in science that should stop you cold. Not a creature's name, not a depth measurement, not a photograph. A phrase. Animalia incerta sedis. Latin. 2 words that the world's best taxonomists, people who have spent entire careers learning to name and place every living thing, write only when they have run out of answers. It means we found something alive. We filmed it. We sent the footage to every expert we could find, and not one person on Earth could tell us what it was. This happened 3 weeks ago, 9 kilometers below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of Japan. And whatever they filmed is still down there.
Picture the surface of the ocean at night. Black water, no land in sight, stars overhead. Now imagine standing on the deck of a research vessel called the DSSV pressure drop, somewhere in the northwestern Pacific, and dropping a camera over the side. Not into the water, down through the first 100 meters where dolphins hunt, down past 1,000 meters where the last sunlight dies, down past 3,000 meters into what oceanographers call the midnight zone, down past 6,000 meters into the Hadal zone, the underworld, named after the Greek god of the dead, and still further, the cable unreeling into darkness until the camera finally settles onto the floor of the Japan Trench at 9,131 meters depth. The year was 2022. The mission was led by Professor Alan Jameson, one of the handful of human beings on Earth who has made the deep trenches his life's work. His team spent 2 months surveying the Japan, Ryukyu, and Izu Ogasawara trenches, dropping cameras and sending down crewed submersibles, building the most comprehensive visual record of this ecosystem ever assembled. They expected to find life. They had found life in places like this before. They did not expect to find something that had no name.
The camera was sitting at 9,131 meters. The pressure outside the housing was 900 atmospheres, 900 times the weight of the sky above your head right now, pressing inward from every direction simultaneously. The light was the camera's own. Beyond its beam, absolute nothing. And then something entered the frame. Pale, white, moving slowly. Not the jerky drift of something carried by current, but the deliberate, unhurried glide of something that was going somewhere. Its body was bilaterally symmetrical, divided cleanly down the center. From it extended paired projections, rigid, structural, pointing outward like antennae from a form that no one on the ship had ever seen before. It crossed the camera's field of view. It did not stop. It did not react to the light. It simply passed through the frame as if the camera and the entire concept of being observed was entirely irrelevant to whatever it was doing 9 kilometers below the surface of the world. Then it was gone. The camera filmed it a second time. Same depth, same unhurried movement, same refusal to be explained. When Professor Jameson's team reviewed the footage, they did something they almost never do. They admitted they had no idea.
Here is something most people don't know about science. Every living thing on Earth, every bacterium dividing in a hot spring, every octopus dreaming in a tidal pool, every fungus threading silently through a forest floor, every virus, every mite, every whale fits somewhere on the tree of life, a branching diagram that reaches back 4 billion years to the first replicating molecule in the first warm ocean on the first day biology began. Scientists have spent 3 centuries building that tree, adding branches, subdividing them, placing every known organism in its correct position among the 2 trillion species estimated to have ever existed. This creature does not fit on that tree. Not because it is too small, not because the footage is unclear, because it is structurally, visibly, categorically unlike anything that has been assigned a branch. The team sent the footage to every specialist they could reach: nudibranch experts, sea cucumber experts, mollusk experts, deep-sea invertebrate specialists who have devoted their lives to exactly this kind of question. The consensus was unanimous. We cannot assign this animal to any known phylum. Not a species, not a genus, not a family, not an order, not a class. A phylum. One of the 30-odd fundamental branches of animal life on Earth. This thing may represent a new one.
The unidentified creature was not the only thing waiting in the dark. At 93,000 meters, deeper than the creature, deeper than almost anything science has documented, the submersible's lights fell on something that made the researchers go silent. A meadow. Stalked crinoids, over 1,500 of them, anchored to the rock terraces of the trench wall, their feathered arms extended upward into the current, filtering the water with the patience of things that have been doing exactly this since before the first dinosaur drew its first breath. Crinoids are 480 million years old. They were ancient when the ancestors of fish were still figuring out how to grow a jaw. They watched the mass extinction that killed the dinosaurs from the bottom of an ocean that has since completely rearranged itself around them. They have outlasted every predator, every catastrophe, every geological upheaval the planet has produced. And here they were, 1,500 of them, in a meadow that no human eye had ever seen, waving gently in water so cold it would stop your heart in seconds. Not surviving down there, thriving, undisturbed, magnificent, in a place we told ourselves was empty. We were wrong. Again.
While the submersible descended through the meadow, its cameras caught something else: a snailfish. If you have watched previous videos on this channel, you know the snailfish. Translucent, boneless in the conventional sense, built entirely for pressure. No rigid structures for the deep to crush, no swim bladder to implode, no calcified skeleton to splinter. The deepest snailfish ever recorded was filmed feeding, actively hunting, not drifting, not surviving by accident, but feeding at 8,336 meters depth. A new record. The deepest vertebrate behavior ever observed on camera. Think about what that means for a moment. A fish with a spine, a descendant of the same evolutionary line that produced sharks and salmon, and eventually, through a long chain of improbable accidents, human beings, was hunting prey at 8,336 meters beneath the surface. The old record was already staggering. This one broke it. And then, 800 meters deeper, something pale and bilateral and entirely unclassifiable drifted past the lens and refused to be explained. In the same trench, in the same survey, in the same 2 months of work, the Japan Trench did not give up one extraordinary discovery. It gave up a cascade of them, one after another, each one rewriting a number that scientists had written in the margin as final. Nothing down there is final.
We have mapped the surface of Mars in higher resolution than the floor of this trench. We have sent robots to the edge of the solar system. We have photographed galaxies so distant that the light reaching our telescopes left before the Earth existed. We have sequenced the genome of a Neanderthal from a fragment of bone 40,000 years old. And 9 kilometers below the surface of an ocean that covers 71% of our own planet, there is an animal, filmed twice, on camera, in clear footage, that not one scientist alive can identify. We cannot tell you its name because it does not have one. We cannot tell you its phylum because it may not fit in any existing one. We cannot tell you what it eats or how it reproduces or how long it lives because no one has ever collected a specimen without destroying it. Professor Jameson put it simply: until someone retrieves one intact, the deepest oddity in this survey stays exactly where it is. Frustratingly, definitively, unresolved.
9 kilometers down, gliding through the dark, living its life in a place that humanity has visited less often than the surface of the moon, and understanding it even less.
The paper was published in Biodiversity Data Journal, April 2026. Animalia incerta sedis. It is still there, right now, while you watch this, while you breathe, while the city above you makes its noise and the sun moves across the sky in its ordinary way. 9 kilometers down, in water just above freezing, under 900 atmospheres of pressure, in a trench that receives no light and no visitors and no news from the surface world. Something pale and bilateral and unnameable is going about its life. It does not know it was filmed. It does not know it broke science. It does not know we are looking. What else is down there that doesn't know we're looking?